Well, we're all back once again, back in the cave. It's a nice little cloudy day out here. In fact, what the hell is going on? It has been sunny in quite some time. I see that there's also a tropical storm going on in Arizona, according to the comment section, and it's like hell is freezing over. What the hell's going on? Maybe global warming is true, or perhaps it's the other way around. Who knows? Who knows, man? Contempt from Malta. I've actually heard really, really good things about Malta, to be honest with you, man. I'm curious to know what your opinion on the on that state or country, whatever the hell it is. A lot of people love it, honestly. I've actually heard a lot of really good things, and a lot of people have actually been there too. It's just so strange because it's like a place that I've almost never really even heard of. Anyways, what's up, Sky Junkie for Life? John, dude, Gallo, there he is, back and ready. Good to have you, man. Chris Gauchi, Duncan Mays, who else we got here? Edgar Silva, AU Sheh, I think. Ronnie Reese, good alliteration of a name as well, man. Good alliteration for a name, yes indeed. What's up, G Unit? Once upon a time, who else we got, man? A lot of people. Aaron's back as well, thinking about the name, also back. And it has been really kind of an uneventful last few days, last week, really. I mean, Bitcoin made new highs, but it has felt completely uneventful. Why? Because this thing has just not been volatile for quite some time. It has, in fact, been the quite literal opposite of volatile. We have seen the lowest lows on volatility for some of the longest times that we've ever seen ever. I mean, this is a 2-week time frame. We've never even really seen it hang around these areas for that much. I mean, just a couple times in the past, 5 years, and realistically throughout the full history of Bitcoin, it's really only happened a handful of times, this being one of them. Weekly time frame, same shit here too. Monthly time frame, I mean, more or less at extreme lows. Again, only comparable with September of last year, as well as August of the year before that. I mean, these are very uneventful times, but of course, during the uneventful times, all of the setups for the very eventful times do occur. This is kind of what you do expect leading into a big momentous move. Of course, like I said throughout the past week, my general bias here is going to continue to be the upside as long as Bitcoin is above 119. We've moved up our point of failure from 118 to 119 very specifically. But hey, if Bitcoin comes back down below 119, I think we're going to continue to see still uneventful times, but a nice little range play to the bottom side of this current consolidation that Bitcoin's been living in for like a couple months now, or I mean, I guess it's really mostly been this month, but no, we could actually say going back to July. And it is kind of strange here to be, just to be super blunt, Bitcoin's been above $100,000. Bitcoin's been living above 6 digits for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, working on 6 fucking months, half of a year. It doesn't feel like that. It doesn't feel like that at all. I mean, again, you have to understand, I come at this asset as someone who first looked at Bitcoin when it was maybe not well below $1,000, but below $1,000. And just to see it in 6 digits is crazy enough. But now it's almost like complacency where it's just hanging out above there and it feels normal. Like it feels normal and boring, more importantly. Like it's fucking boring in the same way that $50,000 from 2024 was boring, in the same way that $30,000 from 2023 was boring, in the same way that, 8,000, 9,000, 10,000 was born in 2020. I mean, it's so strange how these things happen. Just kind of analysize the psychology of this, because objectively $100,000, it's such a fucking wildly crazy number. Of course, just by the optics of it, obviously the fundamentals of it is not that crazy. I mean, that just puts Bitcoin at about a $2.5 trillion market cap. But comparing that to other things, it's not really that crazy. I mean, gold is about 10 times that, or maybe a little bit more than 10 times. I think gold is getting close to 30 trillion in terms of market cap. And then you got, other major US stocks like fucking equities that have, a handful of them have, higher market cap than Bitcoin, which just, it really puts things in perspective. It certainly can go up a lot more over time. But yeah, just the kind of shock value of 6 digits on your screen for 6 months at a time. And maybe it's going to be another 666. Perhaps that's the signal. Perhaps that's the signal for another high. No, well, maybe. But we shall get into that a little bit later. What's up, Mr. Creighton C? Yes, indeed, man. Yes, indeed. Danny DeSantis sending hate from Louisville. I actually hear a lot of good things about Louisville as well, man. Louisville, Kentucky. Where else? Nashville. A lot of people seem to really love Nashville. There's other like random places that people have told me that they absolutely love that I just would not have really thought of. Charleston, South Carolina is one big one that comes up a lot. In Savannah, Georgia, those places come up a lot. People seem to really love these places, but you just don't hear about them. They just don't feel that well known. Anyways, where else are you gonna get 50 or more than 50% CAGR for a decade? Says Joe. Yeah, man, I definitely hear you on that. I do take a bit of an issue with the people who really focus on CAGR and kind of suggest that Bitcoin is going to maintain a 50% CAGR, going onwards and forwards, because naturally Bitcoin is almost, it's in my opinion, guaranteed to decline over time. So when people do forwards projections using CAGR, I think it's actually really disingenuous, to be honest with you. That's not really what you're doing, but I'm just saying this as someone who's like been listening to a bunch of other people talk about this, and that always comes to my mind. It's like, you can certainly not count on fucking 50% CAGR on Bitcoin to continue for forever. You probably can't even continue count on that for the next 5 years. I mean, after 5 years, I expect this thing to go down well below 30, probably. I mean, closer to 20%, I would imagine. It's naturally going to go down. The gains have to go down over time as volatility does decrease and as Bitcoin gets a higher market cap. That's just the name of the game. It's just the name of the game. And that's why, gold moves a lot slower. It's just a bigger market cap, more well-established, more mature. You can expect that with an asset that's been around since, the dawn of time, the dawn of recorded history, 5,000, 6,000 years ago. I mean, it's like, that's just natural to happen. It's a sign of a maturing asset. So I don't even look at that as a bad thing. As the CAGR goes lower, I expect Bitcoin to be significantly higher. That's going to be really a market feature of it, or at least in my opinion. So yeah, man, we shall see. Before it was carved, Mount Rushmore's beauty was unprecedented. That's always a clever comment, Mr. Yarbrook. Always a clever comment, sir. Biff the Bear, good morning to you as well, man. Hello from Canada. Please send help. The help shall be sent to our 51st state. No, well, maybe. It is pretty hilarious that continues to be a meme. Like, whenever Trump talks to fucking Mark Carney from Canada. That guy is a weird guy, Mark Carney. I will say that guy has me a little bit. I don't know, man. You guys really fucking voted for him? Like, what the hell? It just seems so strange. Such a strange choice. But maybe I just don't know enough. I'm certainly open to that. I don't fucking follow Canada's politics anyways. Just, I don't know, man. Just, whenever I hear him talk, I'm like, I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced of you, man. I'm not convinced at all. Anyway, what's up, Ben's Chair? I've actually pinned your message today. It was the best message before the stream started. And Grandpa, good afternoon to you as well. So you must be in a different portion of the world because it's nice and morning here. It's nice and morning. Morning to you as well, Mr. Pimp Eli Wick. Bonked means something else. It could mean something else, depending upon the context of it. I need to take another sippy sip of this water, man. Worst wishes from Utah. Worst wishes as well. Right back to you, my man. Worst wishes as well. Let's check out some U.S. markets, seeing what the major indices are doing, going about, 12 minutes into the U.S. market open. And today is I actually do think today is going to be quite an important day, although I don't expect much to happen today. I do think it really sets a tone, again, probably not even for the next week, but the back portion of October. I think we're kind of stuck for a little bit of time, but yeah, looking at SPY futures, again, just, hanging out the highs. I certainly would not mind at all a pullback here back down to 6,700. I think that would be fine for a higher low. Ultimately, this is still massively bullish to me. The question is, are we going to see this thing explode from here? No, I think that these are low volatility grinds into new highs, which is very market of traditional market, bull markets, basically. Like volatility going down as markets make new highs, actually like a good sign, generally speaking. At least that's how it was taught when I was trading traditional markets. NASDAQ futures, same thing over here. A little bit stronger. This one did make new ultimates yesterday. Ultimately, this one's setting up for a pretty damn good weekly closure, as well as the bi-weekly closure too. That one comes up a little bit later tonight. I mean, this is going to be good. Closing anywhere here or higher, anywhere above 25 is going to be quite good. Sets things up for a back end of October run, or I guess the next 2 weeks of October. Going back to SPY, does it look the same here on the biweekly? Yeah, more or less. I mean, this is just a nice gradual acceleration into an uptrend. So personally, I love that. Again, I love the nice bases, stair stepping up. And this is one of those stair steps up, but it's just a slow step. It's a slow steppity step. Again, I have absolutely no issues with this chart at all whatsoever, as long as this thing's above shit. I mean, fucking this 24th of September is low, which is all the way down at around 6624. Higher, any pullback or, before that is just a higher low to me. And I do think, maybe this one gets a pullback maybe it opens up next week with a little bit of pullback and then tries it up. But either which way, it is just a lovely, lovely uptrend. Now, I would like to see some of my other stonks, but U.S. markets haven't opened yet. So I suppose we shall have to wait. Where is Coinbase right now? That's a real question. Coinbase opening up a little bit higher, but doesn't, not really doing too much. Again, closing this bi-weekly anywhere in this vicinity is, in my opinion, going to be considered quite good. Setting up for the next 2 weeks of likely another try at least higher. Probably bodes well for Bitcoin. We can go check out IBIT as well. Where's IBIT opening up today? It is opening up slightly higher as well, 69.30, not bad. We can see, actually, let's go back to that bi-weekly time frame. Bi-weekly doesn't really do too much for me right here. I need to really see it close above that swing high from August, which was 69.89. So it's going to get pretty close there. It's going to be opening up at 69.31 today. Obviously, a lot can happen between now and the end of the day's closure. But if it does close above 69.89, I would look at that as a really, really good signal actually for Bitcoin as well. Again, doesn't necessarily mean it's going to immediately bounce up to new all-time highs, but I think it sets in the backdrop for that continuation play, I don't know, throughout the rest portion of October. I don't really have like major biases on the timing of this, more or less. So yeah, when would you sell if you got Bitcoin when it was $5? Fuck, man. You know what? I actually wouldn't sell at all. What I would do is take out loans against that Bitcoin, using that Bitcoin as collateral. That's exactly what I would do. I wouldn't want to sell that, man. You don't sell the fucking golden goose that's laying you the golden egg. So, you know, buy the insurance policy, buy the liquidity by taking out a loan against it. Then you don't actually have to sell your Bitcoins, and you know, you could use the appreciation to work for you. And I mean, I would assume if you bought at $5, you're in such amazing profit that you wouldn't really need to take out a humongous loan anyways. So you'd be able to cover yourself quite easily on any sort of a downside move. At least that's the way that I look at things. You know, if I'm going to be putting on my long-term investor hat, I'm thinking in terms of accessing liquidity, not selling. I don't like selling my assets. I like accessing liquidity through taking on loans. That's preferable because, one, if I don't sell it, then guess what? I don't know capital gains tax, which is going to be a lot if I bought at $5. I mean, for fuck's sake, man, buying at $5, selling at $100,000. Like, have fun with that on your tax returns, man. If you take out a loan against that, you get the liquidity and you don't have to pay taxes. Yes, you do have to pay the loan interest, but you can very likely pay for that using the appreciation, or maybe you have income coming in from another angle, from another job or something like that. You could use it to pay that. That's very, very valid as well. I mean, I think that is the playbook if you're going to be looking at Bitcoin as a long-term asset, which is more or less the way that I kind of look at it today. Yes, I still do look at the lower term timeframes. Yes, I do get to chomping at the bits for trades when I feel like it's very, very obvious. But for the most part, I got a bot who runs on that 5-day 5 EMA strategy. It's super fucking simplistic. I mean, I basically show you guys exactly what I'm doing. And again, it just maximizes those big uptrending moves. So that's what I'm looking for there. And then for the most part, I'm just looking to stack. I'm looking to stack and fucking hold and not sell and take out loans against that and not over leverage myself with those loans. That's where you get into trouble, of course. If you take out a big loan against your Bitcoin, where you're like 50, 60, 70%, you can absolutely get smashed on a downside move. But if you're taking out 20% loan to value over your Bitcoin, okay, yeah, you're going to be able to survive any sort of a major downturn, even if you did it at the absolute worst time. So that's kind of my point there, man. That's kind of what I've gravitated towards, as certainly I've learned a lot more in financial literacy, which I just didn't know before. I just didn't know these things before, and I imagine most people don't know them because that's why I've been making a lot of those videos on long-term investing, long-term analysis and long-term strategies, not just for trading, not just for investing, but also for taxes and whatnot. Because once you understand the system, you understand that it's actually built for your success. Just no one fucking tells you. So I'm trying to tell people so that you can do it too. Because guess what? At the end of the day, it benefits all of us when we all lean into that. Because why? Because basically it forces everyone to buy fucking assets. So, so in a way, if you hold assets, that's great. That's great. That's really the big issue with the U.S. economy right now, is that the bottom 50 or 60% of people in terms of income earners don't own any assets. And if you don't own any assets, you're getting fucked every fucking day. I'll say the same thing as I always do. I feel like it's my obligation to scream at the top of my lungs during every fucking video, during every live stream, saying, hey, if you're not holding assets, if you're holding fiat dollars, if you're buying bullshit and not buying fucking assets with your hard-earned money, you're fucking up. You're only on a downtrend. You are losing value every day. Your fucking dollars are like a melting ice cube. It's slowly dissipating away. Each and every passing second, you are losing your PP. Your PP is getting smaller. Your purchasing power goes down, or all of our purchasing powers go down. So any sort of excess liquidity should be put into assets that actually gain, and preferably gain more than 10% or around 10% a year. It's kind of like the baseline, generally speaking. So, if you can do that, you're going to be on a good, you're going to be very, very happy with what's going on right now. If you can't do that, you're going to be absolutely fucked. And especially right now as well, because the Trump administration has made it so fucking clear what they're doing. They made it so fucking clear what they're doing. But again, because people don't have financial literacy, they don't understand. They don't fucking understand the way that the system is designed. The way that the system is designed is not intended for people to hold your dollars. Don't don't fucking hold dollars. Hold assets. Hold assets. Gold, Bitcoin, stonks. Maybe not necessarily in that order. I'd probably hold equities, then gold and Bitcoin, in a mixed, in a mixed portfolio. If I'm looking to protect value, that I think is the best way to do it. But yeah, man, if you're not playing the game that way, you are getting fucked. Absolutely. And that's why it's so deadly when people get stuck in these lower income rungs. And then what do once they get money? They fucking buy some bullshit Gucci, shirts and shoes and all these sort of things, stuff to look rich, but they're not actually fucking rich. And it's just making them poor anyways, because guess what? They just bought an asset in the form of a fucking shirt, which is degrading immediately. So it's not really an asset. Or maybe they buy a really nice car, which is also immediately degrading as well. Again, not going to be an asset. So instead of spending their stuff on stuff that's actually going to, at least save their PP powers a little bit, then you're just on a, ever quickening ramp of losing economic value to the point where, at some point it probably does become unattainable to even crawl out of that, or at least it would be extremely difficult, extremely difficult. And shit, man, I mean, if you have like student loans or something like that, then for fuck's sake, I mean, that just makes it even worse. That's the real trap. I don't think it's by design though. I don't know. Well, I don't know if it's by design. I think that we just have really dumb teachers who don't focus on this shit. Or at least, I don't know. Well, I guess they don't really create the curriculum. Like there should be a tax and asset class in school. Like that's really what it should come down to. Everyone should be forced into that. I do think that the Trump administration made one really good decision with, I think it's like the Invest America thing where everyone gets $1,000 to invest in probably SPX as soon as they're born. That's, I think, a good start. But then you got to teach people how to fucking do it, So good luck with that. Most teachers don't know this shit. Do you think a fucking elementary school or a high school teacher for that matter knows this shit? Absolutely not. They don't fucking know. That's why they're teaching school. No offense, okay? They just haven't focused on that. Most people haven't focused on that. That's my point, man. I've been in this space. I've been in trading. I've basically raised in this whole fucking thing since I was 11. And I didn't even know that until I started studying it a few years ago. And that was only because of that major economic event, which was the Rona times, which accelerated inflation so damn much that I started to realize, oh shit, you actually can't hold dollars because it is literally going to fuck you. Your purchasing power actually has gone down about 50% in the past, 5-6 years now. It's actually insane. I mean, just look at house prices. Anyways, let's talk about some goddamn magic internet money. How about that, huh? How about that? Anyways, let's get into some daily Bitcoin price statistics over here. Friday is a little bit more likely to close positively versus negatively since this bull market began in 2023. By the way, I've been getting a lot of questions about my settings on the new HPass. I've actually just uploaded them to Teachable. You can find them all there. All you need to do is literally just copy them one by one. It'll be completely fine. I can assure you, all good. Anyways, my point is that, or what is my point on that? My point is, yeah, if you want the settings, go check them out there. But also the average gains and the average losses, as always, is what we're most interested in. And just like actually yesterday did play off twice off of the bottom boundary. So a couple of scalps right there if you were very aggressive. I do want to acknowledge that today I probably wouldn't be looking for either one of these sides to get hit. If any side is going to get hit, it's probably going to be the upside, to be honest. But if we do put the boundaries of average gains on the winning and losing side for Friday into price action terms, to the upside, that'd give us a nice little boundary on the first pass at 124.150. To the downside, that would be at about 119.700 or so. Again, if you've been on this channel now for a while, you know exactly where I'm going with this. We've seen so many fucking times this play out. I don't necessarily have high confidence we'll see it play out today on either side, but if you do, it's almost always an extremely high probability scalp play. We've seen it yet again yesterday. I mean, you saw it literally on the video. Bitcoin bounced off of 121.100, about $1,000 or $2,000, came back down below at the end of the day. And you know what? I'll even acknowledge that there's another way to interpret this as well. So I understand that a lot of people really like, doing short-term time frame scalping. It's fun, it happens relatively quickly. So I'll give you another sort of setup that you could kind of, explore, let's say. Of course, you want to, put this into your own terms at the end of the day, but I'll give you another sort of way that you could interpret this that could also offer up, a bit of an edge. And yesterday would actually be a perfect example of this. So on that second pass where we saw it actually go below the average range lows for Thursdays, if you start to deviate a lot from the average returns range lows to new lows below that, a lot of the time you will have a scalp play before the end of the day where price action will bounce closer to the average loss in this case. So for example, yesterday we would have seen it go well below 121, 150, which was the bottom of that range. And if we start to see it deviate a couple $1,000, which it did to 119.5 or so, then we'd say, hey, this is more likely to kind of bounce up before end of day. It's more likely to get closer back to that average. So perhaps there's a scalp play right here. Now that brings into question, how would your risk management be for that? That's what makes it very, very difficult. That's where I'd turn over the keys to you and say, figure it out, motherfucker. No, well, actually, yes, you'd have to do that. But but yeah, you'd have to figure out your way. Of course, you could draw horizontals and just go for support and resistance and kind of judge it right there. But again, that would have to come down to what you're looking at. I'm just offering up another piece of edge because I do understand that a lot of people do like looking at these scalp plays, and they do offer a real edge, and that's just another way that you could look at it for a tradable sort of opportunity. Anyways, I do want to also say for all the people who've been asking, yes, you can still get the historical price action statistics indicator for free for 7 days in the link description below for Caretaker's Indicator Suite and Teachable. It's a mouthful, but you do get that amongst many other things too. Now, let me bring my notes up back here because we do have a big closure today. We have a very big closure today, big PP closure, which is going to be the 2-week time frame closure. And so a couple things on the 2-week time frame closure. One, as always, I like to focus most on the HPDR, and I'm curious if we're at any sort of major precipice right now. As of right now for CME, Bitcoin is actually well above the bi-weekly HPDR median. That's all the way down at 117,500. So barring any sort of catastrophic pullback today below 117,500 on CME, it will very likely remain above there and actually reclaim it after last week's kind of flippy floppy here. So that will still give kind of an upside bias, I suppose, coming into the next couple of weeks of price action. But here's the thing. There could be a super easy signal that if fired off would immediately make me say, hey, I don't know if it happens next week or the week after that, but I'll just be looking for new all-time highs. You're probably going to see 130 if this happens, and that would be on a really, really simplistic play if the 2-week time frame could close above that swing high from August. That exact price would be today 125,200. Right now, CME is trading about $3,000 or $2,500 below that number. So perhaps a little bit less likely. But hey, if that did happen, that would be my easiest call for new all-time highs coming into next week. As long as Bitcoin's below there, it's I think it's more likely. I just don't have like a confirmation of that move yet. But it doesn't mean that it can't start to happen next week. It's just it would make it a lot easier is what I'm trying to say. The lower that Bitcoin comes below 120 today, if it does come below 120 today, the more and more that I would offer up or raise the probability of this thing actually failing. But still, 119 is my line in the sand. 119 below there on a daily closing basis is where I start to look at this thing as a lot more likely to play out a more prolonged consolidation sideways and down. Again, personally, I look at that as a good thing because spending more time within this region likely would imply that this market cycle is going to go on for a longer time. But hey, I understand that not everyone's going to be of that same opinion. Anyways, regarding the biweekly time frame, it is of significant interest right now that if Bitcoin does finish today, the biweekly time frame closure above 119, then guess what? The 2-week time frame will see stochastic momentum pop back onto the upside, retaining in the critical zone. And this was among one of my more concerning signals recently, just because, this has been more of a corrective signal, especially throughout this bull market. But if Bitcoin gets one more of these cross the upside, I do think that we are in for likely the last move of this parabolic rally. I don't know, I guess this month, next month, whatever it ends up being. But that would likely be the setup for it, especially when you got such low volatility like you see right here. I mean, this is really the backdrop for one of those amazing moves if they were going to happen. I mean, shit, the last time we saw it even get this low was back on over in April and March. And from there, Bitcoin went all the way up from about $80,000 to, the all-time high at about 125,000 US dollars. So that is significant. I mean, these can be absolutely massive moves. And before that, we saw it in 2024 before Bitcoin had this 50% move over here. Big fucking moves, man. Anyways, moving on from there and getting into our biweekly RSI, I do want to also acknowledge that there is potential here for hidden bullish divergence, or sorry, actually, no, not at this exact moment. Maybe on spot it is. Let me double check. Yeah, there we go. Spot actually does have it, but spot does not close tonight. Spot will close on Sunday because it does trade over the weekend. But if it does close here higher for spot, let's just say above 122, yeah, it will confirm that. Again, I'd really like to see Bitcoin close above one of those crazy numbers in order for me to really feel confident that, it really is ready to push into the deep 120s, probably even 130. But yeah, it is there for spot, not actually for CME right now, or maybe CME would have to rally a little bit higher for that one to start to populate. As these are slightly different charts due to the non-trading of CME over the weekend. Anyways, we already went over stochastic momentum. We already went over the HPDR. So those are my main things for the 2-week time frame. Other than that, let's go check in on the quantum wave bands. This is kind of like our noob-friendly strategy right here. It actually had a tremendously massive win recently. Did enter into another trade over here, but this one is at a little bit of a loss right now, entering it at about 124.5. Current price is about 122. This one, I would imagine, is probably going to be a loser, but I imagine it's probably going to get you out on a bounce that's likely coming here. Other than that, man, this one's, let's actually see the strategy test. Let's see how the equity curve has been, because it's been a kind of a rough time for the markets. But yeah, okay, so this is actually a really, really, really good insight into the quantum wave band strategy, because if you recall back to, I think it was a month ago, or sorry, 2 months ago, when Bitcoin put in the all-time high in August, that most recent all-time high in August, the turnaround from the all-time high took major losses on the quantum wave band strategies. But as always, and what I really want to focus on here for the people who've been around for a while now, is that when you have a good setup for you, when you have a real edge working for you with a real strategy over time, yes, you are going to see dump offs like that, like you see. And we've seen that many times in the past. But what makes a good strategy is that dump off doesn't kill your equity. And instead, if you stick around, as I'm sure many people are aware, well, it's already made new highs as of this week. It did have a pretty massive win. This was opening a trade of like 117 or just under 117, closing it literally at the all-time high right now at 126 almost. So not bad right there. But yeah, my point is that if you're going to trade something like the quantum wave bands, which I think is a really, really good tool for especially like newer guys who just need like training wheels to see what a real strategy looks like. And more importantly, I mean, it's been profitable for so long, and we've seen it have survived so many dynamic environments now. But again, you have to be in it for the long term if you're going to let that work for you. So for the people who are in that and who stay with it, I salute you. That's fucking awesome. I'm glad to see people like really, really understand these concepts and more importantly, benefit from these concepts. For the people who do not have the patience, or for the people who get over leveraged, I hope you learned the lesson. I sincerely hope you learned the lesson. And I hope that the lesson wasn't too painful. But yeah, that's the name of the game with any sort of a strategy. You're going to go through periods of winning. You're going to go through periods of losing. But what makes good strategies is that over time, you win more. And you have to give yourself space to survive those downturns, because they will naturally happen, even with a great strategy, as we saw right here. I mean, this one's been doing it for a long time now. I mean, shit, I think we've been watching this one now for a couple of years. No, about a year and a half, maybe, personally. And then we brought it out like more commercially, I think about a year ago. And yeah, so we've seen a lot of these periods. So again, you can even try out this for free for 7 days. But like I said, really to see the results from something like this, you got to stay on for months and months and months. I understand that sounds like a bit of a shill, and it is, to be fair. But at the same time, like that quite literally is the truth with any sort of a strategy. You're like, you can't just fucking count on it, to produce, make profits now, make PP go up now, give me PP now big. Anyways, for the people who do have lifetime for the quantum wave bands, you also get access to this indicator right here. Just want to check in on it. Do we have any signals? Do we have anything of interest as of right now? We haven't checked on it in a little bit of time. And it is suggesting that if Bitcoin does fail here, yeah, there is a real risk of coming back down to 114-ish, maybe even lower, to be honest. But there is a real risk of that if Bitcoin were to fail here. But as long as Bitcoin's above 119, I don't have an issue with any sort of a shallow pullback. In fact, to me, it's just a shallow pullback, probably more likely to pop back up here, if anything, really. But yeah, time shall tell. I do think that today's 2-week closure for CME will be very, 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 very revealing. But still, I kind of imagine that this market is going to be moving like molasses. It's going to be slow, man. Anyways, I'm going to get into the comment section. I see that we do not have Steven Schickman first. Holy shit, the world is freezing over. We have, actually, I can't see his name, but it is GPCR. All right, it's Stonk. We are turning into like full-on Stonk boys, which actually is probably a good thing. We are maturing as well. Anyways, Structure Therapeutics. Let's check it out. Never seen it myself, I don't think. I see that it is, as of right now, above that most recent lower high, so that is a good thing. It is also simultaneously at the bi-weekly 55 EMA, so this is a good pullback area, but I wouldn't necessarily say it's bearish. it can pull back a little bit, set in a higher low, and try higher later. I do think it's significant that it got back above this high over here and set in a higher low over here. So that supersedes what I was just looking at right there. So yeah, does it maybe spike like 30, 31 first, then pull back a little bit, then try another move to the upside? Probably yes. You did have a bit of a formation going on right here, so I'm just curious what that sort of implied move would be. Let's just do it like this. It's not gonna be great because I have my magnets on. That implied move would actually be a lot higher at 35, 36 bucks. So like another 20%. I don't know. That doesn't really sound right to me without a consolidation first. But yeah, does this thing try some upside moves from here? I would imagine so. And it sounds like you're on the very high term time frames as well, asking about a weekly and a monthly. So yeah, I think that's going to spike a little bit higher. I'd be cautious around 35, 36. And in the short term, I think you could very easily pull back a little bit from here. But again, any sort of a higher low above, especially like 25, 26 bucks, completely fine in my opinion. Anyway, Steven Schickman, there he is. We found him. All right, we found him. Thank God he's alive. All right, Doggy, daily, weekly. Let's check it out. I imagine it's still doing the same thing as before, which is not much. And then you say, or sorry, the message is Doggy daily, weekly, please. When bullish divergence? Well, if you want bullish divergence, you actually need to be making lower lows, and this thing is not making lower lows. Maybe you mean hidden bullish divergence, in which case it's also not really making that as well because you don't really have lower lows on RSI between any of these higher lows. Again, I'll say the same thing as, as I've said many times, Doggy Coin is just going to follow the rest of the market. It's not strong. It's also not weak compared to most things. It's just kind of a non-event in my opinion. I don't really see personally, I don't see why you would want to hold this unless you just really believe in the fundamentals, which fair enough. I like the avatar of the doggy. Fair enough. That's, I guess, a valid investment thesis in this world. But yeah, as far as bullish divergences, there's not going to be any on something like this. It would need to make either new lows or it need to have some sort of lower lows on RSI. It just doesn't even have that. It's more or less flat, very uneventful. But like I said, as long as you're above all major moving averages, now not just on a monthly, but also on a weekly, I can't hate it. It's not wise to be bearish on something that looks like this. But I can tell you exactly where I would get bearish. Again, below last week's low of 22.5 cents. We did have a downside try this week. Did not get anywhere near there. It was just a backfill on last week's open. That's fine. That's okay. I just think in terms of relative strength, this thing is, a non-event. There are significantly better things to be, focusing on. But hey, you do you, sir. I support you in your decisions, and fair enough. May you have all the glory if this thing turns around. But yeah, below last week's low, very fucking bad. Very, very bad. Very bad PP. Anyways, Ethereum, same thing. When bullish divergence. This one also not going to be having bullish divergence. Why? Because you don't have new lows. You can have hidden bullish divergence, which actually did fire off last week. Did get that initial move up all the way to 4,800 from about 4,100. So not bad right there. Could argue that one's already played out. Let's see what the daily looks like. Ethereum, I'm like a lot less confident on in the short term, just because overall, if the bi-weekly closes like this above 4,300 on Sunday, I think that's fine. This again is not terrible. Bless you, sir. If it does have a pullback, maybe back down to like 4,000 or something like that. But again, as long as you're above last month's low, I'm not really concerned about this thing reversing here. I think that would be very, very unlikely. If it does come below last month's low, then I would start to really entertain the possibility of like a really severe pullback, maybe down to like very low 3,000s, like 3,100. But I think that's unlikely right now. I think this is a consolidation at the highs. That's generally good. Like I said, even a pullback to 4,000 bucks is not an issue. The obvious breakout point here is basically the last 5-day high, which is 47.80. Where is that price action pivot? The fucking price is in the way. 47.56 actually. Above there, I think it'd be fair to call it an actual breakout. But yeah, daily had that same, 5-day had that same drive of hidden bullish divergence. I'm not really getting any obvious signals here, but again, going sideways at the highs, that's fine. That's generally good. So yeah, I'll leave it on that, man. Anyways, pieces next. We'll go with Litecoin. One moment. I remember last time we looked at Litecoin, we kind of put in the same bucket as Doggy Coin, but said, this one's likely to move up to 130 or 140. Let's see if we have gotten such moves or if they have not. Oh yeah, they have happened. Okay, nice. All right. Yeah, trading at 134.5. I do think that this one can spike a little bit higher, maybe like 140-ish. But this one, I put it in the same bucket as Doggy Coin still, but this one's actually moving right now, so it's going to be better. It's going to be better than Doggy Coin. Even with that in mind, though, again, here's your long-term real chart versus Bitcoin. This is why holding something like this, in my opinion, is a death sentence long-term. But, you know, is this thing going to gain versus Bitcoin? I actually think it's going to gain more versus Bitcoin in the short term, you know, maybe back up to 12 or 1300. But if we go back to Litecoin versus the dollar, I do think that one has a little more upside here too. I would be expecting a consolidation, you know, around these prior highs here at like 140-ish region, low 140s. But that very likely sets it up for a real move higher. You know, maybe we do get one of these epic moves that we've seen in past cycles. But as always, they do fail over a long period of time. And again, my main concern with something like this, man, is that you're just going to be losing versus Bitcoin over the long term. In the short term, it probably actually will gain versus Bitcoin, to be fair. Personally speaking, I do think this one could explode up to, you know, after it's spent some time consolidating at 140. I'd expect, you know, it spends like a decent amount of time at 140, but if and when it does exceed those values, I think that this one actually could work its way up to this top side of the trend line price action pivots extension. It's like 180, 190, maybe even 200 possible. But that would obviously require Bitcoin going, you know, full on moon mode. So, you know, are we in that portion of the market cycle? If there was ever a time, I believe this is it. Coinbase now trading back around $400 fucking dollars, insane. Yeah, it's hard to me not to see Bitcoin, you know, continue up and to the right from here, man. Yes, it can go sideways still, maybe even pull back down to 119 again, but as long as you're above 119, the risk is to the upside in the way that I look at things. What I don't like is that the euro dollar is going down. No. I need to sell my euros. Sell my fucking euros. Bad. Bad chart, bad PP. Anyways, Josh says, hello, prees as well to you, sir. Just a nice positive message. I fucking love it, man. All the best to you, sir. Josh, and then John Dude. What's up, John Dude? Circle stock on the 2-hour BBWP Brewing. RIP or dip? I thought it said RIP. Rip or dip. I actually have Circle on my list here. I don't own it. I probably will at some point, but I don't like getting these things in these sort of early days, just personally. Anyways, you're on very low term time frame, so 2-hour time frame. Rip. Low volatility, hidden bullish evidence, and generally in an uptrend right now. I think that this thing's ready to move up to like 165, 170-ish region. I don't know, maybe not today, but you know, this might be like a next week move. But overall, yeah, this is set up for higher, man. This is set up for higher. So I would say rip, not RIP, but rip. Much more likely, especially as long as you're above this morning's low. If you take out this morning's low, okay, yeah, sure, I'm going to be wrong, but that's well and far away right now. Thinking about the name says Solana, short and long term. Sure, amount. Where's my shalamis? Where actually is, oh, it's on this chart over here. Uno momento, por favor. There she is, 223. I imagine Solana's not going to be breaking down if Bitcoin's not breaking down. And what do you know? It's not breaking down. A little bit weaker than Bitcoin, but still would be in the conversation of one of the more strong shitcoins out there in the world. That's for sure. Short term, to me, that means like a 4-hour time frame. I do think 4-hour time frame does try higher here. You got 1, 2, 3 drives of bullish evidence on the 4-hour RSI. I don't know, maybe it pops back up to like 227, maybe even 230. Above 230, I think that this thing is actually like ready to continue this move back up to your highs from September. And at that point, you know, does it just make new highs from there? Probably yes, if that were to happen. But let's also go over failure conditions as well. Where does this one fail? This one will fail below that September 25th low, long term, below 190. That's where real problems start to occur. For right now, it's a pretty good bounce. Basically, I would even say as long as you're above last week's low, although technically it should be 190 if you want to go by the book. But yeah, yeah, just doesn't look as strong to me here, but fair enough. Better than most, to be fair. Better than most. Duncan Mays has a nice super chat, but no comments. Oh, no, it is a comment. Can you please look at Rose on the daily? It has privacy features in the chart. Looks good. Great. Amazing. I'm sold. This sounds amazing, man. It has privacy features? What? You obviously don't know about Zcash, okay? Zugo Cash has real privacy features. Oh, great chart, bro. It's so private, you don't even fucking know about it because you can't fucking see it because it's all the way on the goddamn floor. Amazing. Just amazing. Yes. Privacy. We're going to be super private because we're poor as fuck from holding this absolutely amazing private coin. Look, do I think it's going to go up from here? Yeah, I think it's going to go up here. Do I think it's going to be outpacing any one of these other shitcoins that we looked at today? Probably not. This is absolute fucking garbage, man. This is contender for worst chart of the day award for sure. Now, even the worst charts of the days will get their bounces in the most bullish of bullish markets. And this, something like this could easily explode up to like 4 cents, maybe even 5 cents, which is a humongous move from where it's at right now. Is it going to outpace anything else? Not for the long term. That's for fucking sure. I mean, Jesus Christ, man. Like, do I need to show you this? Rose versus Bitcoin. Oh, amazing. I love it. I love it. I just love losing value versus Bitcoin. Amazing idea. How can I lose more value versus Bitcoin? Hold Rose. Hold Rose. Not only do I lose my PP, but I also lose my Bitcoin P, my BP. My PP and my BP are going down. Amazing. Just amazing. Yes. And again, I do think it is going to rally from here. I actually do think it's going to rally, but for fuck's sake, man, like why? I just have to ask you the question, why? Why? Like seriously, why? Do you like the project or something? I mean, obviously you're talking about privacy features. Yes, okay, great. Privacy features. All right. Could I interest you in some very tasty laundry detergent? I hear it's really, really good for you. It has great privacy features as well. Anyways, no, don't actually do that. I have to actually say that because if you actually do believe that this thing is in some way, shape, or form good, then I should probably also qualify that statement that is in fact a joke. No, you should not drink laundry detergent. And Rose, while I do think it actually will go up versus the US dollar, this is an absolutely objectively terrible shit chart. Terrible, terrible. It is the worst chart we've seen today by far. Don't worry, we got a long stream left to go. There's probably gonna be worse, but this one's already the top contender for worst shitcoin of the day. And again, it could rally up all the way to 5 cents. It's not gonna make a difference. It's not gonna make a difference. And you're going to, again, lose value versus many other things by holding this thing and hoping and praying that it's going to do something anywhere, near last cycle. That's never going to happen again. Never back to 50 cents again. Okay, I shouldn't say never. The probability of that happening is less than 1%. Actually, I bet if we put this thing on the HPDR on the monthly, it's not even going to show up around there. I'm genuinely curious. Let's actually see. All right, how's my good chart doing? Where is my good chart? There's my good chart. Oh, amazing. Yes. All right. So you are above the 100%, or sorry, the 99.9% of historic returns range highs when you are at 16 cents. Very far away from your all-time high of 50 or 60 cents. Great chart, man. Privacy. Yes, we love privacy. Thinking about the name is looking at Link short term. And again, sir, if you're new here, I'm sorry. Like, I'm not trying to make fun of you or anything like that. I'm making fun of this chart because it objectively is absolutely fucking terrible. Okay, you as a person, you're not terrible. You probably just don't know. You probably just don't know. And it could be that I don't know either. Link goes in the same bucket as Doggy and as all those other ones, but this one's better. This one's certainly better than Doggy. Hanging it up a little bit higher in the short term. Monthly is similar to Ethereum. I don't have any issues with this thing as long as it's above last month's low. Overall, I think it's, this is a consolidation at the highs and it will work its way higher. I think that's good. Monthly momentum to the upside as well. Daily looks like it's trying to set in a base right here. I would effectively treat it as long as you're above $21.50, that's fine. More likely to spike up towards 25 or 26. And if you lose that number, then, maybe another swipe at 20. If you do lose that number, I think it could be an early warning signal, but $20.50 would be the official one. 5-day time frame operating in this nice little falling channel here. Typically, more often than not, these will be resolved to the upside, and they do have implied targets on them, but it has not been resolved to the upside just yet. It will be once you're back above that last 5-day high. At that point, you're going to have a measure move back up to $27, $28. Something like that, man. Mr. Aren is here. What's up, man? Does Tether Dominance want to meet 4.6% again, 4-hour daily? Let's see. I don't know how much I would trust like a lower term time frame on the Tether Dominance chart, but let's see. Does it want to go? I mean, I wouldn't judge that from a 4-hour time frame. 4-hour time frame is being held right at the place where you'd be expecting a lower high if this thing's going to, flippy flop back down, which I think this would be as good as place as any. You're right at the 200 simple, right at the 377 EMA, and momentum's turning down simultaneously on bearish divergence. So if there ever was a setup to fail here and come lower, this would be it. Now, 4-hour time frame doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. Daily time frame, do I think that this one at some point will get back up to 460 or 470? Yeah, hell yeah, I do. But does it happen first, or do we get another return into this blue box where the somewhere here ticker is, which is where we've seen all of the major highs for Bitcoin and cryptos throughout this cycle? I guess I'm a little bit, I don't know. Daily, you got momentum to the upside. You do have a nice bounce off of this number. It is kind of a weak low though. Weekly, it's not really giving me anything here that's super obvious. It is a downtrend. That's the obvious thing, but you're caught between a rock and a hard place. If I take away my drawing tools, you're basically bouncing off the weekly 377, but you're being held by trend right now. So I do think it's more likely you get one more spike around 4%, but I don't think it's actually going to break down below those lows from 2024. That's just a personal opinion, by the way. I don't know. That is just an intuition opinion. I can very much be severely wrong on that. But I would probably be looking for a bounce if it does get back down to like 4% or even a little bit below 4%. I don't think it's going to like fully break down, but that's just personal opinion there. Tron Jeremy says, don't you feel like a stripper? People throwing dollars at you? Don't you feel like a porn star with that name? No, thanks. All good, man. Bless you from the Netherlands. OG since 2018. Fuck yeah, man. I'm very, very glad to see you still around here, man. I love all the OGs of this channel, and more power to you, man. More fucking power to you. Get with the Hype says, thoughts on Solana ETF launching soon? Doesn't matter. I'd say look at the Ethereum ETF. Just because you're getting an ETF doesn't mean that people are interested in it. And it's been quite clear that the market just doesn't seem to care about the Ethereum ETF in the same way that it's care about the Bitcoin ETF. Now, does that mean that the market's also not going to care about the Solana ETF? I would assume Solana is lower on the ladder compared to Ethereum in terms of traditional market interest. Bitcoin makes sense to them because now it's been around for a long time. They've seen futures for a long time, and it's proven itself for a long time. Ethereum less so, and Solana even less so, being that it's even younger and doesn't have that history of making severely new optimized from cycle to cycle. So I would imagine probably not, but I don't know. For me, in the way that I look at things, it's completely different, because Bitcoin is, it's a commodity. Ethereum is not a commodity. It's like a startup, or it's closer to a startup. I mean, it's a company, right? It's a company with a CEO, and their goal is to make money. Same thing with Solana. You got a company with a CEO. These are completely different things. And so far, the market has said that they don't give a fuck. But yeah, I mean, it's good for narrative though. It's a great thing to spam in a chat with a bunch of rocket ship emojis, and people will probably be like, oh my God, really? An ETF? What? ETF? I think ETF good, right? ETF good, right? Right? It's like a bunch of fucking, squirrels nuts. Where? Need ETF? Where? Is the ETF here? Here? Do you have an ETF? Where's the ETF? Anyways, Arjun says, morning crowd, what's up, man? Looking at stock TER on the weekly? Sure. Let's go back to this. I like looking at the RSI for stonks and stochastic for the kryptons. Haven't looked at this stonk ever before, and let's go to a weekly maybe. Oh, that's exactly what we asked for. Overall, it's okay, but I do think you're getting ready for a pullback just by the virtue of getting close to this prior all-time high at 155, 156 region. So I don't know, maybe you do spike up closer to that region first and then pull back. Maybe the pullback comes from here, but I do think that you will be pulling back either way. But a pullback is a higher low. Overall, this is good. Overall, this is bullish. Overall, this would be one massive, hey, fuck you. It's one massive fuck you, actually. That's exactly right. Compare this with that great rose chart, right? The great fundamental rose chart, which goes literally only down. This one has gone literally only up. Amazing. Very private. Very, very good features. Anyways, this chart right here, again, man, you do have a falling channel. It is more likely to break out to the upside than the downside, but I don't think it's ready right now. With volatility this high, I think you're more likely to pull back, maybe fill the gap, around 120. This could take a long time, by the way. This could take a month or two, and then maybe try another upside move. You might even get caught in this channel for years at a time. I don't know, but I don't think you're ready to break out from here. I'd be surprised if it broke out from here. So I'll leave it at that. But overall, I do think it will break out over a long period of time. I'm just not convinced it's coming from this exact area. Chris Fellows says, Zen, they say it follows ZEC. Oh God, man. You know what, man, when I first was getting into crypto, and I was frequenting this highly homosexual forum called the MISC section at bodybuilding.com. People were really obsessed with this thing. And this one guy on that forum went all in on this thing. And priorly, I think he made a shit ton of money on some other random shitcoin. And And look, like, I'm not even talking shit about him. This is a very, very common story. Like, he made a shit ton of money on a prior shitcoin, and he's like, oh god, this is like super easy. So he started taking on loans, I think, from either the bank or from his family or something like this, and he went all in on this thing. I don't know, like somewhere around here, right? And I think he got liquidated like somewhere in that bear market that followed it. But hey, I will say this about Zen coin, Derp coin, is that at least it made new all-time highs in 2021 versus its 2017 high. That is quite rare. Now, it did come literally all the way back for the full fucking retrace in 2022 and 2023, and it's pretty much remained there ever since. But you know, stuff like this will get their bounces, and this is, I think, these next few months are probably the time where you're going to get these pretty epic bounces. This one's already having a pretty epic bounce right here. Volatility is extremely high at the moment, so I do think you're going to be finding a local high relatively soon. But I actually could see this thing spiking towards $19 or $20 first before it puts in like a major high and then pulls back. But yeah. Do I think it's going to like break this long-term trend? No, I don't think so. But I do think that it will. I do think that it will try a little bit higher from here, like maybe $20. But that's where I'd be looking for on like a mega high, most likely. So yeah, Pricey says SOFI stock, high term time frame. Cheers, sir. All good, man. SOFI, let's see. This one's been popping up a lot on streams. Really good, man. Really fucking good. Eats up last week's dump dildo and what feels like a second. Anyways, high term time frames to me means weekly, monthly. Overall bullish. Overall, this one must be private as well. Definitely private. Yes, very private chart. People who join these streams and like have no idea what the hell our weird community is talking about are probably so confused. Overall, man, I think that this one's going higher. You know, next week if it pulls back down to like $28, I think that's fine. But basically, as long as you're above that late September low, which is the price action pivot at 24.84, I'm looking at this as the next higher low, man. I'm looking at this as the next higher low. So I'll put it that way. It's got to be the weirdest channel on all of YouTube to just randomly pop in on and be like, what the fuck is going on here? Anyways, Biff the Bear is asking for no specific time frame, just short, long term on BNB. BNB was among some of the best ones. Definitely private, very private chart for this one. This one for sure private. But it is having a much more nasty pullback than most things because it was a first mover. Now, I do want to acknowledge that there is, you know, some pretty nice bearish divergence here. In fact, I would even draw it all the way from July highs. 1, 2, 3, 4 drives. You know, that's usually going to get a pretty sizable pullback and consolidation. What also supports that idea is that this thing is at extreme BBWP. So I look at this one as an early runner, and so this one's going to likely take a bit of a bit of a pause here. I think that is my personal opinion. Now, do I think it's done to the upside for forever? No. I think that you could easily come down to like 1150, put in a higher low there, and then try again to the upside. But I think that you're done going to the upside from here, like on a consistent basis. You know, I think it's likely to be something like this. If I were to draw with the light points, like higher low, boom, blah, 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 and then perhaps new highs from there, something like that, man. Shane T says BITF, 3-month 513 pullback. It's very specific. Let's see. Okay, we're on a quarterly time frame, so very, very high term time frames. It is at the prior major rejection. Holy shit, man. We've been saying this one to somewhere between $5 and $6 for a while. I swear, last I looked at it, it was below $4. Or it was around $4 at least. It was not here. Wow, this move happened a lot faster than what I would have expected. A lot faster, man. I think that you actually might spike a little bit higher first and then pull back just because of the way that this move, just how like fast this move has been. Yeah, if I had to call it, I think it actually will spike closer to like 550 and then pull back. I mean, you've already gotten to 513 more or less. That's 510 high this morning. I think you spike a little bit higher, then pull back. Pullback could be kind of nasty. You could come down to like $4 and still be okay. But yeah, moving fast, man. Moving really fast. Nigel has retracted his message. I don't know why you do that, but thank you for that, sir. Biff the Bear says, is the McRib back? Apparently so. Intel 8 hour in 1 week. I don't look at an 8 hour chart because I don't think it matters. I'll look at a 6 hour chart. But I also don't really think that, I mean, look, if you're on the higher term time frames, man, who gives a fuck what the 8 hour is doing, to be honest with you? Your 8 hour time frame is more or less a daily anyways. I have Intel on my list over here. I do own Intel, just full disclosure. But of course, that's because I like literally just like the company. I didn't really so much like its chart when I first got into it. I was just getting into it because I like the company. Yeah, when I look at the monthly, I mean, like, is this the real reversal? What are you sighing about back there, Elsa? What's the issue? What? Yeah, I think you probably do spike like $40 or $41 and then you pull back a little bit, but I'd still be bullish overall. Like, this is not a bearish chart. It's just like, if we're going to draw one of these LARP lines here, right? You're kind of almost already at it. It's a little bit higher, but these a lot of the time will get played. So like maybe a pullback. I don't know if it's coming this low. Okay. That's just a LARP line after all, but you know, maybe it comes back down to like low 30s and then tries an upside move for a real breakout. But I don't think it's ready from here. I do think over time it will. I do think over time it's very likely that it will exceed this and move its way back up to like 50, maybe $60. But I don't think this is the move. I think you're coming into like a local high very soon. Now, if I go to the yearly chart, this is almost undoubtedly, at least to me, a macro low. So if you're long term, I think this thing's fine. I think you should be expecting big ranges and probably a pullback, but long term, coming into 2026, I think you're going to see this thing trade up to 50 at some point. I mean, might be near the end of the year, might be the beginning of the year. I don't fucking know, but at some point during that year, I think you get a move up like that. All right, the conservative cat is next. He's looking at SILJ. This is a new one for me. I've never seen this one before in my life. It's junior silver miners. Okay. Pretty good. I mean, yearly is above the prior all-time high. That means that prior all-time high becomes like a big basing point, $21.50. If you do pop back down there, I'd be looking for a bounce. You're on a daily and a weekly, so we'll go to that. Weekly, I think you found a short-term high here. Extreme volatility plus a bit of a selling dildo. So I look at this as a good place for a pullback after a pretty momentous run. Also, more or less making new all-time highs. So I think you will pull back at least $21.50. I think if things get really crazy, maybe like $18, $19, but that should be a higher low. Long term, I'd look at this as very bullish. But in the short term, I think that you've likely found a swing high, sir. Mr. Saleh says, can you look at ASTER on the day? Man, I don't know how many times I have to say this, but I'm not going to have a good opinion on ASTER, guys. Like, you don't want my opinion on ASTER. I mean, for fuck's sake, like, it's way too new. It's like way too new. Again, around for less than a month. Now, if I'm looking at it right here, do I think you're going to bounce off of this last low? Yes, I think you're going to bounce. Would I call for this bounce to, get you back to these highs? No, it's way too new and it's already acting like shit. Like, no. So while I do think it's going to bounce, probably bounces up to like 180, maybe 190. As long as you're below that 210 high right here, the price action pivot, I think it's a downtrend developing. But again, these things are too new. Like, the problem with it being too new is that you just don't have that prior history to go off of. And when you don't have that, like, they can, pump or dump out of nowhere. So while I do think it's going to bounce here, I'm not so confident this is going to be a bounce that like brings you new all-time highs. I think it brings you up a bit and then probably come back down. But even that, I don't feel very confident about, man. It's just too new, man. It's really too new. Like, I feel bad even about giving an opinion on this. This is why I qualified so much by saying, like, look, man, I really don't fucking know on this. Too new. Like, it's too new. You shouldn't really care about my opinion on this. I think the 4 hour is somewhat readable, in which case I'd be looking for a bit of a bounce here. That's it. Saying anything more than that is just completely retardio. For anyone to do, because you're going off of nothing. You're going off of absolutely fucking nothing. It's like what I almost want to do is I almost want to go on like other YouTube TAers and like just ask them questions just to like see if they'll actually give an answer for these things. Just to see. Who am I kidding? Who are you kidding? We all know that many of them will. Yeah, bro, bullish. Next target, $10. Tom says, New York Stock Exchange, VST, weekly, monthly. Got it, man. Love you as well, sir. VST, Vistra Corp. All right. Good. but that's 4-hour time frame. So who gives a fuck? Weekly time frame, also good. Definitely give a fuck. This one seems to me to be putting in the next higher low, or solidifying last week as the next higher low. So that's going to be a big price action pivot at 190 or 191 almost. So as long as you're above there, I am looking at this as a higher low and a series of higher lows that has a very nice uptrend. It must be a privacy coin. Amazing. Look, the second that you trade back above last month's high, I think that this thing is like ready for a big fucking move. But I also think that it's probably gonna be its last major push before a severe correction. Like, we've seen so many of these parabolic moves in traditional markets now. While I do think that this one's getting ready for its own sort of thing, or at least continuation, I do want to caution in traditional markets that a lot of those things do look like they've either hit major highs or are so fucking close to major highs. Again, alt season has already happened or is happening in traditional markets, and people are focusing on fucking Zen coin and fucking, what's the other private? Rose coin. Rose coin. I'm like, bro, you don't hold your fucking roses? You idiot, holding gold? Why are you holding gold, man? You could be holding rose coins. Well, I guess it's not private, so that's why you might want to hide it. Hold it. Yeah. Overall good. Nigel says USDARS. Is this Argentine's thing? Their thing? Oh yeah, the Argentine peso. Probably not doing very hot. Well, the US dollar's be doing very well versus it, but yeah. Sold off on that prior high. I actually am not a humongous fan of looking at Forex like this because it's gonna be so event driven. I think in the short term you're gonna go down a little bit and reconnect at like 1400, but I don't feel strongly about this chart either way. This could very well be a major high. Like, look at, see, this is the problem with charts like this. Like, they don't make sense. Like, it just fucks with all of these indicators and whatnot. So to me, that means it's very much event driven or fundamentally driven. And so, my edge is not going to work quite well on this. If I had to call it short term down, somewhere around here, but I'd also probably be looking for a bounce around here as well. I just don't feel strongly about it though, man. Plonker says PayPal 4 on weekly, please. Monthly, please, mate. No problem, mate. All right, let's look at, I don't know, mate always sounds funny to me. Because in American English, mate means like, your lover. And in English, it means like your friend. And so for some people, these are the same things. But in my experience, usually not. Like, I'm not trying to fuck my friends, usually. Anyways, PayPal 4 on weekly, quite the spread of different time frames. Long term, not a big fan of this chart. Short term, slowing off on the first test of the 200 simple on the weekly. I think that this is going to pull back a little bit more from here, man. I think you're going to probably pull back and potentially fill this gap down at like $72. Other than that, I don't really have strong opinions on it. I'm not a big fan of the long term chart, though. I'll tell you that. But if I had to call it after looking at the monthly, I'd be looking for short-term pullback and then maybe one more continuation move to like 88, 89, maybe 90. I don't know, something like that, man. Just don't feel super confident on anything else. Chris Vela says RGTI, daily weekly. Sure, man. RGTI, Rigetti. Yes, this one. Yeah, and Exhibit Z, another parabolic blow off top. Daily time frame. I think it's going to continue to make new highs. I think you still have new highs into next week, but it is really fucking close, like very fucking close for a major blow off top. Very fucking close. And the problem when it's this close is that it will happen so quickly that it'll move like 10% off of the highs before you realize it. So yes, I don't think the highs are in just yet. I do think it's got, maybe one more. I don't know, maybe it gets up to like 55 or 60 or something like that. But I would be very much filling out my limit sell orders or having my finger on the trigger for something like this, man. Yeah. And if it did from here come back down below like $41, at that point, I'd also call, just the high based off of that. But for now, I'd be a little more biased towards one more new high at least. The conservative cat is looking at SATS stock. Okay, what's this? Is this a Bitcoin related one? No, it's not. Echo Star Corporation. Daily, weekly. Sure, man. Let's check it out. Let's wait for it to load. Take a sip of this water. Yes, another one of these popcorn rallies. The old popcorn rally. Okay, yeah. It's one of these. So it was born in 2008. It's getting its first major move. Extremes on volatility on the weekly. Like super extreme. But Probably hasn't topped yet, honestly. It's fucking close though, man. I'd say the same thing about the last, or on this one as the last one. I do see some hidden bullish divergence that's potential here on today's daily closure, anywhere here or higher. That'll confirm it. So I would be biased towards another new high. I mean, it's already gotten up to like 85. I honestly think it'll get up to like, you know, $91 or sorry, $100, something like that. But again, I would be super, super aware that this thing is extremely close to a parabolic blow off top. So maybe one new high, and then I don't know. I'd just be super, super aware that these things are like very extreme right now. Like these are extremes. If it did come back down below your swing September low at $69, I would also call a major high with a big breakdown. But for now, I'd be biased towards one more new high at least. Freddie M says BITF daily weekly. We already did that one, so all good there. Clarice says ARU Arafusa rare earth. Okay, cool. Rare earths, good. Good PP, also good narrative. Weekly, monthly, sure, man. Yeah, don't like it as much long term. I do think it's going to spike a little bit higher though. Yeah. I mean, you got a higher low here on the quarterly. I don't know if you're going to get back up towards this high, but I do think you'll go a little bit higher than where you're at right now. Let's say like 37 to somewhere around 37 cents. Which is actually kind of a big move from where you're at. It's like 20% move from where you're at. But I would be aware that that's kind of like the area that you should be expecting a bit of a pullback from. Weekly time frame. Yeah, if it does pull back, I don't know, somewhere around like 26, 27 cents is fair game. Bullish as long as you're above there. Bearish if you start to close below there on a weekly. Other than that, yeah, I actually do think that it will try a bit higher, in fact. Danny and NVIDIA weekly target. What does weekly target mean? Does that mean where is it going to be in a week? Like, what does that mean? What does that mean? I'm genuinely curious. What does that mean? I don't fucking know. I don't have a fucking crystal ball. I can give areas of interest, but time usually doesn't accompany those. This thing, I do think you're going to spike up to like 200. You're probably going to see $200. Probably going to see over $200. Does that happen this week? I don't fucking know. If I had to call it, probably somewhere in like the low 200s. Again, I think that this thing is in parabolic blow off top mode, but it's not there just yet. I think, actually, sorry, no. This one is not in parabolic blow off top mode. This thing is in fact literally the opposite right now. It's in fully contracted mode and setting in a continuation of uptrend. So yeah, I'll just be looking up and to the right, man. There's no real targets, just uptrend. Bullish as long as you're above this low here, which is your September lows, very far away, 160. Let's see. Vahid Gabel says CORZ stock. Sure. 4 hour daily. All right. CORZ. It just hit an all-time high today. What's the best way of determining how high it can go in a short term? Fibs. Much love to you and Elsa. Much love to you as well, sir. When you're in blue sky breakout mode, there's not really many great things to do. As you suggested, Fibonacci extensions can be really good for areas of interest if it gets there. Looking for like higher term time frame RSI divergences can be quite useful. Looking for higher term time frame extremes on volatility can be useful. But you know, when you're in new all-time highs, you're kind of in the twilight zone. Like weird shit happens. Just expect weird shit. Anyways, this is good, man. This is good. You're on new all-time highs with low volatility right now in an uptrend that has been relatively consistent monthly, closing on new highs. This is overall good, man. You don't need to overthink this thing. Could you do a Fibonacci extension on this? I mean, you could. I don't know how much it's going to matter, but it's just plotting out some future areas of interest. It'd be like 22.5, 24, 25.5. Be the next like set of them, I suppose, if it gets there. But yeah, overall, looks quite constructive to me and looks like it wants to try higher, which is what generally happens when you make new all-time highs. The trend is your friend. The trend is your friend. Just let it be your friend. Just let it be your friend. Joey Burden says SPX 6900, 4 hour daily weekly, too many time frames. I mean, it's not that it's too many time frames. It's just like what's relevant to you. I mean, I can't imagine like if you're looking at the higher term time frames, who gives a fuck about the 4 hour? And simultaneously, if you're looking at lower term time frames, who gives a fuck about the higher ones? You know, you can have several setups play out in both directions from different time frames like that, and they're just not related. I know some people would disagree with that, but I would massively push back on that. It's just not what you see in practice. It's really not what you see in practice. But yeah. This thing, well, it's better than Rose, so it must have privacy features. So that's good. Seems pretty private. SPX 6900. Looking for something that's obvious. Overall, it's okay. It's not going to be the strongest nor the weakest of today. As long as you're above whatever this line I drew out here at 136, I guess I'd be biased towards upside from there. Below there at 136, I suppose I'd be looking for a return back down to like 110. Not necessarily a death sentence either, though. 4-hour time frame. I'm not getting anything like super unique from this. I really don't have strong opinions on these lower term time frames for this thing. It's just sideways. I'd be looking at the weekly right here. I generally think that this thing will try back again towards, well, on it. No, I don't even want to say that. I don't know. On this one, if I had to call it, it would be to the upside, primarily or purely based off of the bi-weekly time frame, which you didn't even ask about, but it's the only thing. It's the only one that I can find an obvious thing on, because you do actually have potential for for a bullish engulfing dildo by Sunday's closure. If Sunday closes above $1. Wait, hold on. Sorry, no, that is not true. 135.5. If it closes above 135.5, then yes, you will have bullish engulfing dildo, and at that point, I'd be generally biased towards upside, but you can have big ranges here. Other than that, man, I don't see anything like super obvious on this, so I'll leave it at that. Nice one. There comes up all of the. I mixed my beef today with eggs. It's really good. It's really good. You know what I used to do that Elsa finds incredibly disgusting is I used to get about half a kilo of salmon and cook that with about half a kilo of cut up beef sirloin. And honestly, I'd have that every day for that was a good 6 months. Very good 6 months. Very tasty. Anyways, Cole Hatcher's looking at AVGO. Okay, it's very helpful when no time frames are given, but I'll just figure it out, man. I'll just read your mind, no problem. Overall, very good though. Overall, very good. All jokes aside, very good. Very strong chart. Must be private. Very private chart. Super private chart. Oh yeah, this one's private as fuck. Holy shit, it's so private. The privacy is overwhelming. Yeah, man. Looks to me like you got your next higher low here on Tuesday's low at 326 and change. I'll just be generally bullish as long as you're above there. This thing looks like it's ready to try another upside move to me, man. Bi-weekly time frame. Yeah, as long as you're above 3, especially 320, I think it was 326 or 325, just be looking up and to the right. Below there, okay, yeah, maybe something else is happening. Maybe we should be looking for a pullback down to 280-ish, 290, something like that. But until that happens, I'd be biased towards further upside. Again, parabolic blow off top here, absolutely in the making. It's nearly guaranteed. You're seeing extreme volatility on a monthly. That does not happen often. So maybe it makes one more new high, but I'd really be cautious that a lot of these things are nearing the end of their amazing moves. Cole Hatcher's back. He's asking about Visa, we bull. Are you asking about we bull or Visa? Or are you asking if we bull on Visa? These are questions that only you can answer, sir. I don't know. I mean, obviously it's bullish, but is it bullish from here? I think it's more sideways from here than anything, man. To me, you are caught within a range for a while. Consolidation range between your highs here and your lows somewhere around here. You're in the middle of it. I have no calls in the middle of these. Now, long term, this is bullish, obviously. I mean, it's a very private chart, as you can see. But I don't know. Is it ready to break out from here? I don't think so. No, I think that this thing is going to take its time in this consolidation range. But as long as you're above 331, I generally would be biased towards an upside breakout. Below there, okay, yeah, something else going on. Perhaps it is a big topping formation and you come back down to 270, 280, 290, something like that. But for now, I'd be generally optimistic as long as you are in this green boundary area. DPS says XLM weekly and 2-day. Can it try all-time high if Bitcoin goes parabolic? Anything could try an all-time high, regardless of Bitcoin going parabolic. But what is the probability of such things for something that hasn't made new all-time highs actually ever, except for its first cycle? But that's how the cookie crumbles usually. I'd have to say I would not be betting for that. Can it do it? Sure. Is the probability of it high? No. Yeah, I mean, why get this thing if you have XRP? It's the same shit, but XRP is obviously better because it makes new highs. Things that makes new highs are better. That's just, I don't make the rules. I don't make the rules, man. Can it make a new all-time high? Sure. Can it? Is it gonna? I would say unlikely, just because it's never has. It does the traditional shitcoin chart of destiny. One all-time high followed by only lower highs. So yeah, I wouldn't be betting on that personally. I think there's better things to bet on if you're looking for a move to all-time highs. But to be honest, it's not the worst chart here, man. It's definitely better than a lot of the other shitcoins we've seen. It's not very private, obviously, so that's a problem. But it's not very private, bro. We need a more private chart on this one. To me, you're just consolidating in this range here, and that's fine. That's fine. Bullish bias as long as you're above 34.5 cents and below 47.25. There you go. It's sideways. Probably does try some upside, but I'm not going to be the first person to call new highs for something that has actually never done that. I don't do that, sir. That's not what we do here, but it could happen. Anyways, thinking about the name, says Bitcoin short term, does the bounce more likely a higher low? Does the bounce more likely higher low? Does the higher low more likely bounce? I don't know. I don't know what you mean, man. Does the bounce more likely? Is it more likely a higher low? It's a nothing right here, man. It's a nothing right here. I don't see anything that's super obvious right now that suggests that this is like absolutely going to be the next higher low or anything like that. If anything, I think it's going to come back down and test around like 120, 119. But I don't have strong opinions on that right now, man. I really don't. And also, I'm not really sure if I'm interpreting your question correctly to begin with. But if I had to call it on the, like, if you mean very short term, I think it's going to come back down here, like 120-ish region, something like that. You got hidden bearish evidence on the hourly, so you know it's going to zero. Giles DeBosch says, hello, sir. What's up, man? XRP on the daily, weekly. I have targets around 235 downside if this thing breaks down. I think off the top of my head, I'd agree with you if it does. But that's, that's an if statement, right? Anyways, okay. So last week we were looking at XRP and it was right here at about 305. And we said, hey, I'm very much open to this thing breaking out. But technically speaking, this is exactly where you'd be expecting a lower high if it is going to reject. And lo and behold, that's actually exactly what's happened. I'd be more biased towards this thing coming down to 270 right here. Does it actually break down? It's had 1, 2, 3. This would be 4 tries at that same number. The more tries you have, the weaker and weaker it gets, the more likely it is to break down. So anyways, the question is, if it does break down, where would the target be? And this is a descending triangle, so let's see what that would imply. I'd be a little bit lower than you, I guess, maybe like 225, but anywhere around there, like 225, 235, 220-ish, whatever it is. Yeah, somewhere around there makes a lot of sense, man. If, how would you define a breakdown? It needs to close below that September 25th low. Price action pivot is 270 even. So yeah, more or less I agree with you. I would be a little bit more further to the downside, but yeah. Anyways. And by the same token, we could also move down the potential reversal confirmation breakout point to this high here now, 310 instead of 313. It's not a big change, but yeah, if you could trade back above this high, then that would be tremendously bullish to me. But this is a breakdown setup primarily, or probabilistically speaking, that is more likely to break down than break out. Yeah, glad you called that one out, man. I didn't even looked at it recently. Crazy how the one played out. Straight Path says, hey sir, what's up, man? Rip or dip, CLSK, nice, my favorite game. All right, CLSK. It's the reason why I like the game, honestly, is because it's so like clear what the intention is for the request. So I feel like I can actually speak more directly to what you're actually looking at. I'd be looking for a bit of a dip from here. I think this is going to be a 4-hour high in the making. You got extreme volatility. You got a bit of a shooting star dildo, and it's been a pretty impressive rally here. But I think that you're ready for a bit of a pullback, maybe back down to like 19 or $18, something like that, man. I'd be betting on a dip rather than a rip from here. Gallo says, GM, sir, what's up, man? Ethereum 1 hour and 4 hour pre's. My target was 44.90. All right, let's check it out. 4 hour. What's up, Gallo? It's been a little bit of time, man. Your target is 44.90. I'd be looking for it to come back down closer to this low at 42.75 first before any sort of attempt at the numbers that you're speculating on. If I'm looking at the hourly, it is a downtrend. You do have hidden bearish divergence. I think you're a lot more likely to test this low here. A lot more likely to test this low here. 42.75. 4 hour time frame, kind of the same shit. Maybe even a little bit lower towards 42.20. That's what I'm trying to say. But am I necessarily bearish on this chart? Not really, or at least not yet. So yeah. But I do think you have some short-term downside. You know, looking for 44.90. I don't think that's happening before a downside move, man. In the short term. Punani Muffin says BKKT. BKKT, it's the backed holdings. This was the original Bitcoin ETF. People were super excited about this in 2018. A little bit of a history lesson for you if you didn't already know. Would I enter there? I think it's going to bounce there, but I don't know if it's going to reverse into like into a real uptrend, man. I mean, this thing has only ever gone down. But if the bias for you is that this is going to be the next macro low, which I do not share that same bias. Just for full disclosure, I do not share that same bias. I'm just going to run off of what I think you're probably thinking. And I was looking to buy a pullback. I guess I'd buy a pullback maybe around like $30-ish, give or take a little bit from that number. But yeah, I don't think that's going to work out for you. Sure, I'm sure it's going to make a humongous difference if it has even one more week of history, man. No offense. Like I'm really not trying to be an asshole, but like seriously, like another week maybe at best. I don't know. Let's see. I don't know yet, but CoinEx, okay, great. All right, fucking CoinEx. Okay, so it basically has this history here going back for another couple months to July, where it literally just went sideways for a month and a half and then did this. I guess it's better than nothing, man. It's better than nothing. It doesn't really change my analysis here. In fact, if anything, well, no, I think it's going to spike here and then bounce and then come down. If I had to call it, I just don't think it makes any difference, to be honest. This is the stuff that matters over here. Like all this stuff over here, like didn't even really, yeah, it's just straight line, really. I don't know, something like this, maybe spikes that low again, then bounces, then whoop. I don't know, maybe something like that. Then you're looking at HBAR, right? Nice. I feel like this one we can actually maybe do something with HBAR, 4 hour daily weekly. I say HBAR. That's the herpy derp way of typing it out. Haderpa, yes, Haderpa, 4 hour daily weekly. No problem, man. No problem. Let's get rid of this. It's resting right on that price action pivot, or it spiked that low this week, or maybe even this morning. If you do close below this at the end of the week, 21 cents, I think that is an objective breakdown signal, and you're going to see this thing back down, I don't know, 17 cents or so, like well below 20. Daily time frame, while I do think it's going to test that 20.5 cent low, I do think you're going to at least try another bounce from there, but it is a downtrend right now. That objectively is a downtrend. 4 hour time frame, yeah, short term, one more test of these lows. I think you got maybe one more bounce, and you best hope that bounce brings you back above about 22.5 cents. Otherwise, I'd feel extremely confident this thing's going to come down much lower, maybe even eat up this whole rally over here. You know, again, we have to ask ourselves, like, is this thing likely to make a new high above any sort of major prior high? The answer is no, because it just has never really done that. It did have a nice spike up over here, but was that a new high? No, it was not. It was not above this. So this high over here being lower than this one over here makes sense to me that this could very well be the next sort of major local high and a lower high. But still, I would wait for this price action pivot to get taken out, 21 cents on a weekly closure, or daily below the 20.5 cent number that we spoke about earlier. Gallo says, why would you draw the bearish divergence on BNB so far to July, but the caretaker indicator won't? Because it's only looking at a limited amount of history depending upon how much look back you are looking at. So on mine, I'm looking back 28 bars. Personally, though, in the context of that, I would relate those 2 points because I just see that working out. And yes, you can go more than 28 bars. You can also go less than 28 bars. Usually the lower amount of bars between divergences is going to have a higher probability to actually play it out. So yeah, sometimes sometimes you will see them, but they're not marked off. Again, that is because of the distance between them, and that can easily be fixed if you want to. I actually don't want to, but if you wanted it to show that, you could just switch your look back bars to like 50. Mine's at 28. I feel like that's a really good middle ground for having pretty good signals whenever they fire off. The further out you go, the more look back you have, the lower likelihood it is to play out. The audio is not working. Make sure that it's live. Yeah, it seems fine. It might be cutting out every few seconds because like I turn my head or something like this, but even then I can see that it's working over here. So perhaps I just need to be more mindful of it. It's probably my fault in this one, but I'll try to just be more cognizant of that. I gotta like deep throat the fucking microphone in order for it to continue to be, straight audio. Sorry guys. Chris Vela says MicroStrategy Daily Weekly. Let's check it out. You see, that's the thing. Like I'll turn to look at my screen and then my mouth goes like a little bit off of the mic. So that's kind of what's happening. Maybe I can turn up the gain or something like this, but yeah, MicroStrategy. Okay. Am I going to actually get what I was really hoping I was going to get on this one? It's looking more and more likely. Where's the obvious area though? Cause I really want to say that I still think it's going to come down to 270, the same target as before. But if you're going to bounce anywhere, this area that it's at on the daily makes the most sense. Yeah, fuck man, this one's really difficult for me because I could easily see it bouncing here, or if it does come lower, 270. Both of these areas are fine for bounces that I'd really be expecting like big bounces on. But I don't have one that I'm more biased towards. So I don't know. I really don't know. If I had to call it, I do think it'll come down and take a step down towards like 270 in the next couple of weeks. That is just a personal intuition call. That's not based off of anything. Yeah. But if it also bounced right here, that would also make a lot of sense to me as well. Like it wouldn't be that crazy to expect. So I know that that's not very helpful, and I apologize for that. But personally, I think it will come down to 270. Technically, it could easily bounce where it's at right now. If it doesn't bounce where it's at right now, then yeah, I do think I will be right about 270, and the patience will be rewarded because I've actually been waiting for that for a very long time now. But yeah, Joey Burden says PENGU on the 4-hour daily weekly. Love you, mate. Gay for TA. I'm also gay for you, sir. That's right. Take off your pants. Get ready for the PENGU to come in to you. It's PENGU. That's why it's called PENGU. It's Peng and then you. Anyways, on Derp Base, well, when it comes to shitcoins, this one has a significantly better chart than most. So there's that. 4-hour time frame. 4-hour time frame's in a bit of a consolidation. You did just have hidden bullish divergence play out from this low right here, if you see on Caretaker's RSI. And I do like this as a good price action pivot swing low at, it's basically where my line is, my magical line at just under 2.9 of a cent. Just this low right here is what I'm trying to say. Anyways, as long as you're above there, I actually would be treating this one as likely to set in a low here and try back up towards the top side of this range at like 3.3. Weekly, like I'm not going to be bearish on something that looks like this as long as you're above last week's low. Like that's just the way that I look at things. So below last week's low, okay, yeah, you got some real problems. This thing could actually have a severe breakdown, to like 2 cents even, maybe even lower than 2 cents. But for now, I'd actually give it the benefit of the doubt as long as you're above that magical number. It's basically been a line chart since September 30th, so it's not very helpful there. Yeah. Adam, there was a shit ton of super chats today. What the hell? What is going on here? What is going on? What's up, Mr. Van Duysen? I see you over there, man. I see you over there. It's all good, brother. It's all good. Yeah, early live streams can be a little bit difficult. Yeah, when I get stuck in all the super chats, I feel like I don't get to communicate with the chat, and that's also really fun. No, it's all good. Well, I'll finish all these off, and then we'll probably call it a day. AERO, okay. Let's check out AERO. Kind of similar to the last one. I'm not going to be bearish on it as long as you're above this low here from the 24th of December. It's also the daily 377 at 94 cents. So as long as you're above there, I generally think that you're putting in a higher low and consolidating in a healthy way. Below there, I would call a major breakdown. It's very simple. Below that magical line, I call a major breakdown, probably to 70 cents, maybe even below 70 cents. It looked very, very bad, very fucking bad. But until then, I think you actually have a pretty good chance to put in a higher low here and then kind of continue your way sideways and up, something like this. Like maybe it might struggle for a while and then do something like that. Obviously, long term, not really exciting until you're back above that 150 high, but I don't think you're doing anything significant to the upside anytime soon. If anything, I think you're going to test closer to the downside of this. Just don't want to see this area break. If that breaks, then you got some big fucking problems. Yeah, man. Carbone, Mr. Carbone MD says, what do you think about SIVR on the daily? This is silver's ETF, right? Whoops. If I could spell it, that would also be good. It's physical silver shares ETF. Okay, great. Yes, where are my beanie babies? Been holding since 2180. You have traded this one or invested in this one absolutely beautifully, sir. And looking for an exit strategy ideas. Look, I don't think it's topped yet. I think you're really fucking close, man. A lot of these things are really, really close to some major pullbacks. In my opinion, if I was in your position, okay, I'm not giving you financial advice, but if I was in your position, I would be taking at least some profits around here. You're basically at your prior all-time high, a little bit below there at $50 or so, or 49 and a quarter, whatever it is. You're very likely going to see a nice pullback from that level before any sort of real push to like new all-time highs. Would I be taking like 25% or 30% profits on that? I would. You had a phenomenal entry. So I would personally not want to get too greedy on something like this, and you can still hold the core position because I do think it will make new all-time highs. But generally, almost everything pulls back after getting around their prior all-time high. So I think you're going to see something like that relatively soon. This is obviously a parabolic move, but I actually don't even think the short-term parabolic move is done just yet. I think there's maybe one more push, probably above $50, and then a big pullback, and then perhaps a big one for a big try to like new all-time highs, something like that, man. Joey Burton's back. He says Tau for our daily weekly. Sorry, not sorry for shitcoins. I mean, look, you can ask me about all the shitcoins that you want. I'm like, it's just I'm gonna generally have probably a bad opinion on it because they're extremely likely to have a terrible chart, except for the private ones. Those ones are pretty good. Anyways, this thing better than at least some of the other things we've seen, but this is not the full history. I know that for sure because this is your traditional shitcoin chart, in fact. But in fact, in the short term, I actually would be bullish on it. I think that this is your next high, or is it even a higher low? It's a low. I don't know if it's a higher low, but it's a low. And I do think it will push up to like 430, 450-ish region. I don't know. I'd still be generally bearish on it as long as you're below this lower high here. Or sorry, not even that high, but probably this high is the one that matters most at 588. So it's like, yeah, you could see some upside right here for sure. If it was going to break down, I feel like last week was really its shot to do that, and it didn't do that. So I look at this as actually quite significant here. I think that this one's a lot more likely to move its way back up to $500. So yeah. That's all to say about that. I don't know why you want to look at a 4-hour time frame on something like this, man. It's just going to be fucking flippy floppy, herpity derpity. I don't know, maybe short-term pullback around 405 region, something like that, man. All right, one moment. Rin says, Lord, oh God, would you give us a quick description of how does your program work? How does it help cooking strategy ideas? Is it a strategy builder? I don't know exactly what you're referencing because we have a few different things. We have Crown's Trading Bible, which is like a how-to set everything up. Then we have Quant Prime, which is giving you this massive tool that basically allows you to customize a strategy setup and then get back testing results on that very quickly. And then also you can automate execution for it as well. But it's very much open-ended. And then there's the Quantum Wave Bands, which was maybe the one that you're referring to back here. This one is more of like a done for you strategy. The strategy is already in the indicator and in the script, and you can play it out as you want. But this one is a lot limited in what you can actually do with it. Now, if you just want to play out this strategy, which, I mean, the results I think are very much acceptable, then that's fine. And there's a lot of people doing that, and they're doing quite well, and I'm very happy for them. But if you're the kind of person who really wants like real fucking granular control on how you want to create your strategy, then Quant Prime is the one that's going to allow you to do that. That's the one that's like super open-ended, and you can basically customize it to your heart's content. There's very few things that it can't do, although there are some limitations, obviously, mostly due to TradingView and the way that things are coded there. But ultimately, that's the one where you can basically try out any strategy that you've ever dreamed of and get instant results as to whether this is even a good strategy to pursue or not. Like I said, this one right here, the quantum wave bounds, this is more of a done for you strategy that's already implemented, and you just kind of, watching it. You can play it out, as it suggests, or you could also play it out as you want. You don't have to execute it as it suggests. You could also have it, set up for automated execution. It's all up to you and what you want to do. But yeah, if you're confused and you just want to try things out, both of them offer up 7-day free trials. I mean, like I said, we offer up 7-day free trials for pretty much everything. So you can try it out. Elsa has a caveat for subscriptions, because some people think that for some reason you try it out with a lifetime and then you get it. Yeah, it just doesn't work that way on Teachable. So if you want to try it out for 7 days for free, you do the monthly subscription for one of those and just see whichever one jives with you more. If you're a noob, I think this is much better idea. It's better idea to use something like this because you get a real good idea of what like a working strategy looks like. If you're more advanced and you already got your strategy ideas, then I would suggest Quant Prime, because that's going to allow you to like really supercharge how quickly you can actually test these things out and figure out if it's like even worth pursuing at all. No, Reason says add a pinch of Celtic sea salt to your water for maximum absorption. It's actually a really good point, man. Thank you for that. Pendle, rip or dip. It'd be helpful if you had a time frame on that, but wow, TradingView has like autocorrect now. It actually understands what I was trying to say, but I'm not getting the chart that I wanted. So, oops. Oh, okay. Actually defaults to the crypto chart. Beautiful. Awesome. Anyways, rip or dip. Well, I think obviously it's dipping right now, but I think you're going to dip a little bit more, maybe to like 417 region, 415, 417, somewhere around there. Does it bounce from there? There should be at least a minor bounce attempt. I don't know if it's going to reverse though. Yeah, I really don't know, man. I really don't know. But what I feel very confident on is that you're going to get another dip down around here and probably another bounce around here. But is that going to be bullish or does the bounce fail? That I don't know. But yeah, Leanne M says, good day from Germany. Hell yeah. What's up? I'm an LTI long-term investor, I'm guessing, looking for a new entry in newer stock showing strength with new higher high. How do these charts look? I don't really want to look at a shit ton of these charts, to be honest, but are you basically just asking me like which one is stronger? Very strong, kind of a more fresh breakout, CDNS. This one is less strong and more likely to consolidate for a longer time. So the other one's freshly moving and freshly breaking out. This one is not. This one has more consolidation to go. It's not going to make new all-time-highs for, I don't know, it probably takes a few weeks if that's happening at all. I think you're more likely to move lower from here, actually. Joe 89K says, render please. Sure, man. RNDR. This was a very popular one in 2023. I guess we go to Gemini for this. I don't fucking know. Very bad. Like most shitcoins, even if they do get that early move, they almost always fail over a long enough period of time. Yeah, you are bouncing off this price action pivot here. I don't think this bounce is going to save you. With momentum turning down like this on the weekly, I think whatever bounce you get from here is not going to reverse. I think you're going to break down over time, and you're more likely to come back down to this low at $2.50. Yeah, very ugly. I would change my mon on it and be, I don't know if bullish is the right term, but looking for like one of those one-off up moves if it could trade back above your September swing high at 418. It's got a lot of work to do, but I guess that would be it. No Reason says useless, rip or dip. All right. Useless coin. Useless coin. I guess we go here. Weekly's good. It depends what time frame you're on, man. I'm going to go to a daily. Right at a prior high. I do think you're a little bit more likely to pull back from here. I'm looking for something that's obvious. Yeah, I think you're more likely to pull back a bit from here, maybe back down to like 32 cents or something. If we're just talking about like next move, basically. McDonald says, much love from Atlanta, Canada. Hell yeah. QCOM, Qualcomm, stonk. Yes, you're speaking my same language, Mr. McDonald's. 5-day. Gotcha. Okay. Still range bound overall. Next move likely to the downside. Momentum is having 1, bearish divergence, and 2, turning down freshly in the critical zone. But this is all like low volatility sort of stuff. So I look at this as a consolidation, and you're likely to come back down. I don't know, probably to this red line, actually. I don't know what the hell I had that in from, but probably somewhere back down around there, at least like 156. I just don't think you're moving up or down in a significant manner, just oscillating within these 2 green boundaries for a while. Long term, fine. Like, it's fine long term. I just don't think you're ready to like put in a major fucking move to the upside from here. Joey Burden says, hype daily weekly. How private? It might be very private. We might not know. So we shall find out together, sir. Let's see. I think I have it on my list. Hold on. Where is she? There she is. 45. Yeah. So last I looked at this, in the last like few weeks I've looked at this, I've basically been saying, I think that you're oscillating within this green, boundary channel for a while. Neither breaking up nor breaking down, but just kind of doing one of these. I don't really have a bias as to which side it breaks. I guess the bias would be the upside as long as you're above, this low here at 39.5. But the second that you break below 39.5, I think this thing has a very sizable correction down to like $30 maybe. Something like that, man. Could be pretty nasty. In the short term, I would have a slight downwards bias, if anything. But it's a little bit private right now. Before it wasn't very private, before it was very private. Now it's a little bit private, honestly. Before it was really, really good, but yeah, just because it was doing this doesn't mean it's always gonna be doing this. I think this is a high for a very long time. Just to be super, super direct, I think this is a high for a very, very long time. How am you? How am you as well? GM sir, wondering why my HPAS stats are different than yours. Figured it was maybe time, range, or exchange. Been looking since 2018. Fuck yeah, dude. So first, make sure that we're using the same exchange. So I'm using the index for this. And then the time range would be the other reason why you might have differences. And that would be, I am measuring from the beginning of 2023 till current date. I've actually recently, as of this morning, just uploaded the settings exactly as I'm using them in the teachable documents. So you can find them under the HPAS information. And that should get you exactly there. Again, I'm using the index on the 24-hour time frame. And other than that, all you need to do is just copy all those settings, and there should be no reason why you do not have the exact same chart as me. So yeah, man, hopefully that helps. I've gotten that question a lot of times, so that's actually why I did that. But yeah, just reference that. That'll be the best way. Danny says, Bitcoin dominance, rip or dip. I don't know. Let's go check it. Let's get off this. Don't care about the price action stats for that. Let's see. I think last I looked at it, I was looking for a bounce. Yeah, I'll still be looking for a bounce here. I think this thing's more likely to move its way back up towards or above 60%. It depends what time frame you're on, obviously, but I'm assuming you're talking about higher term time frames here. I think you're a lot more likely to try move above 60%. Who knows? I mean, maybe this is even the next major high or low, but regardless of it, I do think it's a swing low, and I do think next move is up. So whether it's like 60 or 62%, I don't fucking know, but I do think you're moving up from here. So I would say rip. And RIP to most of the shit coins, especially the ones that have not been acting too well, because that, any sort of upside move here is going to really hurt them. Most likely, at least. Cole Hatcher says, dealer's choice for stocks you are interested in technically or fundamentally. You suspect. Wait. Dealer's choice for stocks you are interested in technically or fundamentally, you suspect are just getting starters to upside. I do not understand your version of English, actually. What? Okay, dealer's choice. So you're basically saying my choice for stocks you are interested in. Are you asking if I'm interested in technicals or fundamentals? It's always gonna be technicals. It's always gonna be technicals. Fundamentals come second to me, but ideally they come together. Like, that's because when things are actually good, you expect a good fundamental asset to have a good technical chart. Why? Because the technical chart is where all of the buys and sells are represented. The fundamentals are just your thesis that it's actually like a sound investment. So they should naturally line up because the technicals confirm the fundamentals in the way that I look at things. The technicals will confirm the fundamentals. Thinking about the name says, in your belief, is Bitcoin in short term coming down to around 119 or at least some retest lows? Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about like short term, then I think the question has probably already been answered. But yeah, I'd be coming back down towards those lows. like 120, 119, maybe something like that. We're kind of already getting that move as of right now. It's, when we started, Bitcoin was at like 122.5. Now it's at 121. So yeah, I think that question might have already answered itself, to be honest. Crypto Rizzy says, can we take a look at UNI? Sure. UNI, or is this Uniswap? No, it's Uniswap. Huge pop last night. Okay. And what do you know? As soon as a pop, like, huge pop. Great. Very private. Huge pop last night. And I'm hearing some next level rumors regarding their association with RWA movement. Look, man, if you live by the rumor, you're going to die by the rumor. I'm just going to tell you straight up. All these rumor and bullshit, it's all fucking bullshit, man. It's all fucking bullshit. It's all a game. It's all a game. It's all a game. It's all a game. It's all a fucking game. Game. Private. Down. This thing only goes fucking down, man. Like, that's your next level fucking rumor. People representing their opinions on this by buying and selling it go down. They go down. Overall, very bad, man. Like, very, very bad. All right, go ahead and close them. I'll look at it from one other angle over here, just in case. Oh, this 4-hour time frame. Who gives a fuck? It's a downtrend, and it's a heavy downtrend. And it's another one of these 2021 shitcoins that never makes new highs. Just, it's not good. Like, great rumors and very private. Oh, yes, we got some next level rumors, and also I hear it's very private. Yes, that's right. And somehow those rumors leaked out to us crypto simpletons. Amazing how that happens. Wow, what a rumor. I wonder why that would be propagated. Yeah, man. If you can't read through the sarcasm, I think it's great. I think it's extremely private. Yeah, man, I think that this is a great place for your next lower high. This is a completely meaningless rally that you saw last night. In fact, if anything, people just sold the news on your fucking face and are laughing at you. At least that would be my take on this. Now, can I be wrong on this? Yeah, sure. Of course, I can be wrong on anything. Massively fucking wrong. Of course. How would you know that I'm wrong? All you'd have to do is trade above today's high at 858. If you could trade above today's high at 858 again, I would change my opinion on it to a small rally, maybe back up towards $10 or so. But do I think it's going to make new highs above this high? Hell no. Do I think it's going to make new highs above this high? Possible, but I would still be negative towards that. I do think, maybe like $10 if it could trade above today's high. But even that, I think is, unlikely maybe. Anyway, Straight Pap says, hey, Crown, I made 8.5x since April 2024. Fucking yes, man. Holy shit. I love that. I love it. Big gains. Big fucking gains. Big PP. Market's wild. Feels like FOMO everywhere now. How do you play it after big gains? Stay exposed or chill on the sidelines? So one of the things that really helps me with long-term investments and when there's big money on the table and big gains that I've had is to take partial profits, man. You don't have to be all in the market or all out of the market. You can be some in and some out. You can take out 20%, 25%, 30%, 50%. And leave in the rest. But look, if these are big gains to you and it's like going to change your situation, take some fucking profits. Just fucking do it. Take the fucking profits. Please take the fucking profits. Just take the fucking profits. Okay? And here Bitcoin goes to the downside. There she goes. It's very bad. Very, very bad. Kidding. I mean, it is obviously not as good as going up, but yeah, I do think that it comes down a little bit more. Anyways, yeah, man. The way that I look at it is just take some profits, man. Now, if I think that we're even entering into like a major high, like let's say I think the stock market is topped, I still would not take out all of the money. I would take out maybe 70% or 80% at most from the actual stock holdings, and then I'd want to keep it, on my brokerage and just leave it in a money market, and I'd want to keep it there. One, because the money market, returns will theoretically cover inflation, probably, a little bit of a small loss, but at least it'll kind of make up for it. And then also just keeps it there liquid for if you want to go back in and you like some prices that you see. Assy says Tesla short term looking for entry. All right, let's check this one out. Elsa told me last night she wants to invest in Tesla. Oh God. Let's see. I do think you have a little bit of downside here, at least down to like 423, 415 maybe. I'm not so confident it comes below 415, but if it does, that would open up the door for a much more severe pullback to like 370, 360 region. But for now, I'd probably just be looking somewhere around there, and then hold my breath. Overall, I still like the higher term time frames here. So yeah. All right, we have Claudio. Holy shit, there are actually so many super chats. Claudio Borquez says, hello, Crown. What's up, man? Can you check out Open? Sure, man. Stock, long-term and good entry point. Like, figure out a good entry point. The best entry point for you is $0.01. Good luck getting it, though. Why? This is the chart of a fucking crypto shit. Like, God, it's just like you can't fucking convince people that just because something's in the stock market doesn't mean that it's great. Like, holy shit, dude. There's no difference between this and your usual random crypto shitcoin chart. They're both terrible. This thing's probably topped out for a long time, man. Like, what do you mean buy it? Like, do you just like losing money? Do you like it because it's just gone up over here a lot and you're like, oh shit, that's gonna happen again? This one's done for a long time now. It's done for a long time. This is a parabolic blow off top. It's a parabolic blow off fucking top. I feel very strongly about that. As always, I retain the right to be absolutely wrong as fuck, but I think that you are sitting in a high here for a long time. It might spend some time at the highs. That's very possible, but all right, I'm going to run with your assumption. Okay, I'm going to assume that your assumption is true, which I do not believe that is. I think this is actually a top for a long time, but let's run with the assumption that that this thing is still bullish and it has more upside to go. If I was looking for a buy entry point, long term, there is not a long term on this, sir. The long term only goes down. So you are absolutely fighting the trend. This is a fucking idiotic move, to be honest. You're not a bad person. You just don't know. But this is my opinion. I'd be looking at six and a quarter. Now, would I buy this? Fuck no. Hell no. Hell no. Hell no. This is a high for a very long time. It's probably coming back down to at least where I just spoke about, maybe even all the way to 5 and a quarter before it has like a real bounce. I just do not fucking understand why people are obsessed with charts like this. Why? Seriously, why? Cody says BMNR, please and thank you. All good, ma'am. BMNR. Bitmine immersion. This is Tom Lee's shitcoin. I mean, it still has an uptrend here. I want to hate it, but to be fair, it still has an uptrend, so I'm not going to hate it. I do think it has some downside here. I think it comes maybe back down to like $50 or so. But I wouldn't officially get bearish on it until it's below the price action pivot here at 47 and a quarter. Below 47 and a quarter, I'd be very easy to get bearish on it. But as long as you're above there, it technically and quite literally is a higher low. So yeah, I do think you pull back a little bit. It is really struggling around this price action pivot high here for the last 1, 2, 3, 4 months. I mean, probably going to be the next major high, to be honest. But yeah, I have to stick with my own guns. And my rule is, as long as you got those higher lows, especially on this time frame, I'm not going to be bearish until you should break below those. But once that happens, oh yeah, back down into the 20s. Let's see. Can you show me the settings on the BBWP for the 5-day stochastic versus volatility setup? Sure. It's just default for that one, in case you didn't know. But I understand where the confusion is coming from because I use different settings for different charts. But this is the only one I use now for this one. And it is 13,252. Length 13, look back 252. So like that. All right. Giles DeBosch says, I subscribed to the quantum wave bands today. Could you use it to go short when we go bear? No. You read the directions, sir. It's a long only strategy, man. It's a long only strategy. Might want to review the promotional video. It's long only, man. Yeah, it doesn't work like that. We'd have to create a whole new strategy for short, and I don't think it's worth it because I think you're just squeezing water from rocks. Honestly, even in a bear market, even in a bear market, you know, you're going to get some pretty epic bounces. And that thing has been tested through a bear market. It's not, I mean, it's not going to be like amazing returns, but at least it keeps you positive. So yeah. Gallo says, why would you draw the, we already did that way earlier, man. Yeah. We already did it earlier for Mr. Gallo. Gallo knows, he knows. Yeah, finally no more super chats. And I explained that I have a new job and can't catch the lives anymore. It's all good, man. It's all good. I heard you earlier. I totally understand. Yeah, it's took a while to get through the super chats today, man. I really enjoy speaking with the chats. Let's see if I can just pick out anything here really quickly. Zcash has been moving lately. It has been, but I think that's actually, I didn't even look at Zcash yet, I don't think. What is it looking like? I think this one's probably top. Yeah, it's been moving. Yeah, it's going to be moving to the downside. Yeah. If that's not a parabolic blow off top, I don't know what is. Damn. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Market is trying to nuke and shit the bed, says King Sock. I don't know. I don't really consider this a nuke, but yeah, I think you're about to get a reconnect with maybe 118. Not good to see a sell-off coming into the end of the week, though, I will say, because that's going to... It doesn't negate, but it just doesn't confirm the easy bullish biases that I could be having if Bitcoin were to close above, especially like 124 or 125. So, yeah. But still, long day left to go, so I suppose we shall see where things finish off. CME's got another 6 hours and 4 minutes in the trading week to go. So, yeah. Asia Massage says, Crown, time and price, 103,608. Bitcoin use USD on Binance at midnight. Wow, that would be quite the move, man. Also, when you get down doom scrolling, a video on de-risking positions with maths would be spectacular. That's actually a pretty good idea. I'm going to write that down, man. Thank you for that idea. Oh, that is a really good idea, man. Thank you for that. I actually really appreciate that. Let me just, I have like a whole list where I write down video ideas, and this is definitely going in there. So thank you for that, man. How to scale out. Yes, perfect. That's actually, I sincerely mean that, man. That's actually a really, really good idea for a video. Hey, I appreciate that, Indian Beast, but I'm really not looking for what's it called? Thumbnail designers, man. We got AI now. The faces, bro, it's nuking, sir. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, look, I'm not saying that I can't nuke, and I do think that there is downside here, but for fuck's sake, like, that's nuking to you? Jesus Christ, man. How long have you been in this market? Like 2 weeks? This is a nuke to you. You're on a 5-minute time frame that went down $1,000. Oh my God, it's over! Oh fuck! We're going back to 50,000, man. It's over! It's over! Alt season is coming. That's right. Where your alts all die. All right, we'll look at Ethereum Bitcoin quarterly just to finish this one off. I'm actually curious myself what it looks like. I really would have liked to have seen it gone a little bit higher before calling a top here. Like a major macro top, but this is hard to argue against. This is a top. Yeah, this is a monthly swing high here. Crazy. The trend continues. All right, guys. It's been an absolute pleasure hanging out with you on this nice little Friday morning. I really enjoyed these chats. This Indian Beast guy continues to fucking spam the chats. It's really fucking annoying, so just ban him. Get out of here. Yeah. Like I said, it's been a very pleasurable stream for everyone else but him. Fuck him. Kidding, man. Look, it's free to ask. Just don't like spam the chats with it. Like, for fuck's sake, like use your brain. Send an email. Have you tried that? I don't know. Send an email. Anyways. We'll end things on that notes, guys. It's a very, very fun stream today. We got some very private talks going on, and that was very, very good. We got some private stuff. We got some not private stuff. And that is lovely. And we shall be back on again on Monday. I shall have some weekend videos, I think, prepared for you as well. Hopefully, we shall see. And other than that, I just want to wish everyone the best of the best. It's been a pleasure as always. Bear Nutrition, as always, good to see you, my man. And with that said, take care, much love, and